Crash by Jerry Spinelli, chapters 9 and 10. Chapter Now. Now, September 8th. Today was the first day of school, 7th grade. The bell was going to ring for another 15 minutes, but everyone was already there. Partly was the first day excitement, but mostly was checking everybody out, seeing what they look like after the summer. Almost everyone looks different, changed at least a bit, and not just different, but different better. Like tan from swimming pools and beaches and all, like brown hair now blonde, like taller, but a lot of it's clothes. I would say 1/4 is checking out other kids' clothes and 3/4 is showing off your own. Your new sneaks, your labels, talking prices. It was like, hey man, check this. Cheapo man, check this. So there we're comparing prices and Mike says, look. I looked. Where? He pointed. There. I followed his finger. I shook my head, grinning. You believe it? He laughed. Him? Yeah, I believe it. We both laughed. It was Webb, and I mean the same old Webb. Same old supermarket sneakers, same prehistoric pants, probably from the great-grandfather of his, some old scrawny Oatburger body. Only the button changes. Today it read smile. Uh-oh, I whispered. Here he comes. Mike instantly went into his routine, meaning he acts like Webb is cool or at least normal. He put his huge grin on and says, Yo, Webberman, what up? What do you say, dude? He held up his hand, Webb high-fived it, and then they medium-fived and low high-fived, and behind the back fived, and between the legs fived, and then Mike ran Webb through the handshake. They looped and hooked and twirled every possible combination of fingers. Must have taken 5 minutes. All this time, Mike kept his face straight and cool. So I did the same, which was killing me. I wanted to laugh so bad. Of course, Webb, he doesn't know cool from fool, so he was giggling the whole time. Finally, Mike stepped back and looked Webb up and down and went, All right, Spider, looking good. He rubbed the sleeve of Webb's prehistoric shirt between his thumb and forefinger. He nodded, all serious. Hey, good stuff. Where'd you pick this up? Webb looked up and down his own shirt, probably seeing for the first time in his life. I don't know. My mother usually buys my clothes. Maybe second time around, said Mike. Webb nodded. Maybe. Mike and I exploded. We turned away and pretended we were having coughing fits. Second time around, see, is a thrift shop. In other words, used clothes. Me and Mike, we'd come to school in our underwear before we'd wear something from second time around. We never turned back to Webb because our eyes landed on someone else. We looked at each other. We looked at her. We looked at each other. And we both said the same thing. Who is that? Chapter 10, pages 34 through 37. Chapter 10. She was standing by herself. We moved a little closer to get a better look. Teacher? I said. Nah. Lost? She thinks this is the high school? Nah, she's got to be one of us. Which was hard to believe, but not impossible. Every once in a while, a girl will come from summer vacation, and she is not just a little different, a little better. She's like, whoa. There's a girl in college now who is still a legend around here. On the first day of school, her homeroom teacher refused to believe that who she said she was. She got sent to the principal's office. The principal, the secretary, the nurse, and the janitor, none of them believed her. She had no ID. She wasn't allowed into class until her mother brought in her birth certificate to prove who she was. So we stood there thinking of girls from the past year and trying to imagine how they would look different if they went, whoa. Mike suggested Andrea Tarpley. No way, I said. She doesn't look anything like Andrea. He punched my arm. That's the point. If it is her, she wouldn't be looking like Andrea anymore. I studied her some more. Absolutely not. We went through other names. Rita Marzelli, Julie Stein, Michelle Pratt. Hold it, I said. I made my hands like a telescope and peered through. It's Michelle. Mike made his own telescope. I don't think so. Look, she's all by herself. If it was Michelle, she'd be with her friends. Even though they don't know it's her, I said, I'm going over. Going over? What are you going to do? I don't know. Say hello? I started over. Mike trailed, whispering, You ain't interested in girls yet. I just got interested. She was standing sideways to me as I moved in. She kept staring straight ahead. She was beautiful. I came right up to her and made the first move of my life. I tapped on her shoulder and said, "Hello, Michelle." She turned, she smiled, she looked right at me. She was a goddess. She said, "I'm not Michelle." She walked away. I stood there, and then I went after her. I tapped her again. "You sure?" She turned, smiled, same smile, and said, "I'm sure," and kept walking. The bell rang, the door opened, the cattle stampeded in. Behind me, Mike was choking on laugh balls. I spent the rest of the day checking out the girl. So did 100 other guys. She was right. She wasn't Michelle Pratt. Her name was Jane Forbes. She moved here from Wilmington. She's in 7th grade. I ate lunch with Mike. We spotted her in the salad line. She still seemed by herself. "Think she'll go out for cheerleading?" Mike asked me. In the morning, the principal had announced sign-ups for football and cheerleading and other stuff. "If she don't go out," I said, "they'll come after her." "You're lucky," he said. "You're a running back. I'm a grunt. She ain't going to notice me." Mike is a lineman and I'm a fullback. While he's buried in a pile of bodies, I'm crossing the goal line. Last year, they made me sit on the bench with the other 6th graders. This year, nothing's keeping me off the first string or out of the headlines. "Better believe it," I said. "She's going to go." I made my voice high like a girl. "Ooh, that's Crash Googan staring another touchdown. I do believe I am falling in love with that boy. He's so good, so handsome, not like that ugly nipple-nosed Mike DeLuca." Mike took the banana from his tray, smacked me with it. I took the hot dog out of its roll and wiener whipped him. He grabbed my hot dog and boinked me on the head. Around us, kids were laughing. I brought my fist down and smashed his hot dog roll. He karate chopped my roll. I turned his chocolate pudding upside down on his tray, and he did the same to mine. By now, the whole place was in an uproar. Mike and I had started out laughing. We weren't anymore. There was no way I was going to stop. I've never been number 2 in my life, and I can't stand to lose. More than that, I just won't. Like one of my T-shirts says, "Refuse to lose." Problem was, DeLuca was like that too. I picked up a chunk of potato salad and flinged it into his face. He dipped his straw into my milk and capped the top of the straw, and with his finger pulled out the straw and reached it over my head and released his finger. I got a milk shower. The place went bonkers. I blinked, I smiled, I nodded. I pulled my straw from my milk and I took a swig from the carton. I spit it into his face. Double bonkers. I scooped up some chocolate pudding with my spoon. I was cocking it back to flip it when I felt a hand squeeze my shoulder. Some dumb kid, I figured, so I dumped my load of pudding on the hand. That's when I noticed. It was awfully big for a kid's hand. I looked up. It was a teacher.